The sun was just beginning to dip below the horizon as my brother and I stepped onto the trail behind our childhood home. The late spring air was thick with the scent of honeysuckle, and the occasional trill of a whippoorwill echoed through the trees. It had been years since we'd walked this path together, but the rhythm of our steps quickly fell into sync, as though no time had passed at all. "Do you remember the summer we built the treehouse out here?" I asked, my voice cutting through the tranquil evening. Liam chuckled, his hazel eyes crinkling at the corners. "How could I forget? You insisted on painting it purple. The poor thing looked like a giant grape." I laughed, the sound mingling with the rustle of leaves overhead. "It was the best treehouse in the neighborhood," I said with mock indignation, nudging his arm. As we walked, the memories came flooding back, each step uncovering a piece of our shared past. The path was uneven, littered with roots and rocks that glistened in the soft light filtering through the canopy. It felt like we were peeling back the layers of our lives, revealing something raw and unfiltered beneath. Liam was the first to break the comfortable silence. "Why did you want to come out here tonight, Ellie?" His tone was curious but tinged with something deeper, a note of concern that only a brother could carry. I hesitated, kicking at a pebble. "I don't know. I guess I just miss this. Miss us." He nodded, his expression softening. "Me too." The trail opened into a small clearing, the grass damp and cool beneath our feet. In the center stood an old oak tree, its gnarled branches reaching skyward like a frozen dance. This was our spot, a sanctuary from the world where we'd spent countless afternoons sharing secrets and dreams. We sat beneath the tree, the bark rough against my back. Liam leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence wasn't uncomfortable. It was the kind that only comes from years of knowing someone inside and out. "Ellie," he began, his voice low. "What's really on your mind?" I sighed, the weight of his question settling over me. "I've been feeling lost. Like I'm not sure who I am anymore." His gaze met mine, steady and unwavering. "You're still you. You've just been carrying a lot." His words hung in the air, heavy with understanding. For the first time in a long while, I felt seen. The next evening, we returned to the trail, the sky painted in shades of lavender and gold. The air was cooler, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves. Liam carried a small backpack, the contents a mystery until he pulled out a flashlight and an old journal. "What's that?" I asked, eyeing the weathered leather cover. "Something I found in the attic," he said, flipping it open. "It's Mom's journal." I froze, a mix of curiosity and apprehension bubbling up. "Why did you bring it here?" "I thought it might help us understand her better. Maybe even ourselves." The journal's pages were filled with neat handwriting, the ink faded but legible. As Liam read aloud, her words painted vivid pictures of her hopes, fears, and the love she had for us. It was like hearing her voice again, soft and nurturing, guiding us even in her absence. Today, Ellie climbed the oak tree for the first time. She was so proud of herself, and Liam cheered her on like a little coach. Watching them together reminds me that no matter what happens, they'll always have each other. I blinked back tears, my chest tightening. I didn't know she felt that way. Liam placed a hand on my shoulder. "She did. She always did." The journal became a bridge, connecting us to her and to each other. We shared our own memories, some bittersweet, others filled with laughter. It was as if the pieces of our lives were being stitched together, forming a tapestry of love and resilience. Our final walk was under a moonlit sky, the stars scattered like diamonds across a velvet expanse. The journal had given us closure, but it had also unearthed questions about ourselves and the paths we'd chosen. "Ellie," Liam said, his voice breaking the stillness. "Do you ever wonder if we're living the lives we were meant to?" I glanced at him, his profile illuminated by the silvery light. "All the time." We stopped at the edge of the clearing, the oak tree standing tall and silent. I reached out, my fingers brushing the rough bark. "I think we're still figuring it out," I said. "But maybe that's okay." He nodded, a small smile playing at his lips. "As long as we're not alone in it." The weight of his words settled over me, a comforting reminder that no matter how lost I felt, I had someone who understood. The trail seemed less daunting now, the shadows less intimidating. For the first time in a long while, I felt a glimmer of hope. As we turned to head back, I looked over my shoulder at the oak tree, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. It felt like a promise, a reminder that growth often comes from the most unexpected places. And as we walked side by side, I realized that our journey wasn't just about finding ourselves. It was about finding each other, again and again, in the moments that truly mattered. As the days passed, we began to revisit the places we'd long forgotten. The old bridge where we dared each other to cross over the river, the meadow where we chased fireflies until the sky turned black, the abandoned shed where we'd hidden from summer storms. Each place held fragments of who we used to be, pieces that seemed to fit perfectly into the puzzle of who we were becoming. Liam started to share more about his life, the struggles he'd kept hidden, the dreams he'd put on hold. I listened, sometimes offering words of encouragement, other times just being there, a steady presence in his world. And in turn, I opened up about my own fears, the doubts that had weighed me down. One evening, as we sat by the river, the water reflecting the deep orange of the setting sun, Liam turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You know," he said, "I think we've been looking for answers in all the wrong places. Maybe it's not about finding some grand purpose. Maybe it's about finding meaning in the little things." His words struck a chord deep within me. Life had a way of feeling overwhelming, like an endless search for something just out of reach. But perhaps he was right. Perhaps the beauty of it lay in the moments we often overlooked, the laughter shared over a silly joke, the comfort of a familiar voice, the simple act of being present. The more time we spent together, the more I realized how much I'd missed this connection. It wasn't just about nostalgia or reliving the past. It was about building something new, something grounded in understanding and mutual respect. And as the weeks turned into months, I found myself looking forward to our walks, to the conversations that flowed as naturally as the river beside us. One night, as we stood beneath a sky full of stars, Liam turned to me with a smile. "Thank you for this," he said, "for reminding me what's important." I smiled back, my heart full. "Thank you for walking with me." And in that moment, beneath the infinite expanse of the universe, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. The journey we'd embarked on together wasn't just about healing old wounds or uncovering forgotten memories. It was about rediscovering each other, about finding strength in our bond and realizing that, no matter where life took us, we would always have a place to come home to.